The other thing that you may have noticed that I'm going to teach you today as one of the major mistakes that I think a lot of guitar players make is the idea of first fingers always first. What do I mean by that? Well, most of the time when we first start guitar, we start to identify our fretting hand, and we start to do it like we normally would in life. First, second, third, fourth. First finger, second finger, third, fourth. And we typically, when we're starting guitar, we're struggling with things. It's because we place our fingers down in this order of 1, 2, 3, 4. So an example of that is a lot of us, when we grab C major, might go, first finger is on that B string, first fret, and then my second finger, and then my third finger, right? So it's coming down high string to low string. That's fine sometimes, but what does that hinder? What problem does that give us? Well, if we think about a simple strum of a pick going down, what strings are getting hit first? They're the low ones. They're the ones closest to us. So what I mean by first finger shouldn't always be first is basically the way and the order at which you're laying your fingers down for chords. What we want to do anytime we can with the guitar is become more and more and more efficient at the instrument. We want to be as efficient as possible. This is an instrument of efficiency. That's the goal, at least. We want to make it as easy as possible. So in order to do that, we find pathways to make it simple. One of which is realizing that if I'm playing G major, my second finger should be the first thing to come down because it's the lowest string. It's the string I will first strum. Then my first finger comes down behind it, and then my remaining two in the back. It's not going to be 1, 2, because I have potentially already missed my opportunity to play that low E string. It's going to be 2, 1, 3, and 4. Now, C major, a lot of us would go first finger, second, third. Do the reverse. Come down and do third, second, first. Because again, you're coming down from here, and that's the first note you're going to hit. So you give yourself, even if it's a little millimeter of a mile here, whatever I want to say, a small amount, even if it's just a small amount of ability to give yourself some breathing room as you lay down the other fingers in the middle of a strum. This is why the pros do it this way. So remembering this critical lesson of the first finger isn't always first is key. So I'm going to give you a couple variations that I want you to be playing with here. And I want you to do it with our same exact progression that we've been doing, but I'm going to add some complexity to it in the second version. So first, I want you to do E minor like we've been doing, remembering that you need to put down that second finger first, your middle finger, and then your ring finger. And then I want you to go to A minor, and instead of going 1, third finger, second finger, I want you to go second finger, third finger, first finger. We're working our way from this string to the back strings one at a time. Same with C major. I want you to take your hand off and go third finger, middle finger, first finger, and then strum. And then we just did G major, so we're going to go middle finger, first finger, third, fourth, and we're going to strum. I want you to practice that, and the moment you feel confident and comfortable by doing that 10 times clean and even in the process, that's when I want you to complicate it a bit, okay? So we're going to, instead of doing E minor, we're going to add some extensions to that, and we're going to make this chord beautiful. Let me play you the chords that we're going to change to. I'll play first the original chord, and then I'll play the next version of that chord that I'm going to be teaching you. So you can see that we have one chord that remains the same. I'll keep G major there just because it's already a little complex. It has 4 notes, so it requires all 4 fingers. But we're changing up the E minor, A minor, and C major. So walk with me here. We're going to replace our E minor with an E minor 9, because there's a 7 in there and a 9. Open E, 2nd fret of the A string, 4th fret of the D string, open G, 3rd fret of the B string, open E. It looks just like this. And then instead of playing A minor, we're going to make one change. It's going to be an open A. It's going to be the 2nd fret of the D string, 4th fret of the G, 1st fret of the B, open E. And then for our C, we're going to do a cool little C9 chord here, a C add 9. And you're typically playing G major in this shape, right? Just take your middle finger and your ring finger and start that shape on the 3rd fret of the A string. So it goes 3rd fret of A, 2nd fret of D, open G, 3rd fret of B, 3rd fret of E. And then we'll just resolve on G. Let's listen to those chords again together. Beautiful chords. Really, honestly, some of the most beautiful chords you can play. So what I'm having you do with this is to first master the first finger isn't first exercise with those basic versions, E minor, A minor, C major, G major. And then I want you to test the waters with those ones. So first, with the simple chords, non-extensions, 10 times clean and even for each of them. And then move on to these more complex ones, 10 times clean and even, before you move on to anything else. Okay?